Okay. All right. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I hear you great.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right. Introduce yourself, Rena. Where do you come from and what do you do?
Okay, so I am Rena. I live in Toronto, Canada. I am a registered dietitian. I've been one for 20 years, and I've been working with Tim for the last almost 4 years now.
Well,
Um,
okay.
Really awesome stuff. So I have my own business. I've kind of been working on my own practice, working with women, helping them lose weight. And it's been an awesome journey.
Tell us about this year. Let's go straight to this year. Tell us some highlights. Tell us where you are. What's working well in the business in 2024.
So what's really been a huge change for me was moving from seeing clients one-to-one to group coaching and seeing the amazing benefits that they can and the changes that people can still get in groups. So that has been a huge, huge time saver for me, not having to work so many hours during the week and really being able to work with people in a group and helping to create that level of support for people to see from others who are also in the same situation and really getting motivated that if others can do it, they can do it. It's been really wonderful. So that has been a really nice change for me, not having to work. I mean, I used to work in the hospital and I would work 50, 60 hours a week. So this has been really, really nice to be able to make a lot more money and working less than half the hours I was before. So that's been this year so far has been a huge step in terms of my own business growth and then also my own personal growth and really stepping into this role of helping people, motivating people, coaching people to change their lives. And it's been so rewarding and so wonderful to see.
And who do you work with?
I work mostly with women. So I work mostly with Jewish women who are really struggling to lose weight, have spent, I would say, the last mostly over the age of 35 is my group, spent a good chunk of their life trying to lose weight, haven't been able to, are really feeling overwhelmed with all their life demands and having to take care of other people. And as one of my clients told me this week, she's like, well, I'm always at the bottom of the totem pole. And I really, when she said that, that really speaks to so many of my women. And she was like, I'm like, go on. Like explain that. And she was like, well, I make sure that my son has the food that he likes and that, my husband has the things that he needs, that my son's being taken to all his after school curriculum activities. And whatever's left at the end of the day for me it is what it is. Like if I don't get to eat dinner, like that's me at the bottom of the totem pole. And this is what I realize more and more is holding back so many of these people from being able to feel and look the way that they want to is because it's everyone else's needs come before them. And that's something huge that I work on to really help them change. Like they're prioritizing their needs is life changing and it's so hard to do. And I speak from my own personal experience, but it's really such a tremendous feeling and such a huge change.
You look like you enjoy what you do.
I do. Yeah. I love what I do. And I love the it's not just the validation and the feedback from others. It's just so it's like I feel like I am changing the world and changing these people's perspectives so they feel stuck and they know they feel stuck, but the reasons why they feel stuck are not the real reasons as to why they're stuck. They think they feel stuck because their body's broken and their hormones are damaged, and there is some of that for sure, but it doesn't. It comes from so many other things than just if I can only eat this food, then I'll be better, and then I'll be healthier, and then I'll be thinner. Like there's so many other factors that need to come into play to be able to really get the effective change. And it's been like life changing for me that I feel so empowered and excited to deliver that to other people.
If we do take a step back, I think that's awesome, by the way. If we do take a step back, when we first got introduced by High Five Joel, you were sort of working with, I guess, a similar-ish clients. Most of them, I'm assuming, were in the avatar. They were Jewish, but just even back then, like what were you actually doing at that point? It was more like charging per single session, etc. I know that you were doing other things as well. Just kind of give us an idea of what things were like then.
Okay. So when we first met, I mean, the very first time, and you said, "Yeah, no, we can't really work together. This isn't for you." I was like, "Oh, okay." That's the kind of. I was struggling in this place where I decided I'd done private practice years ago when I first became a dietitian, and then I went off to work in the hospital. And then around 5 years ago, I was like, "Well, I really want to get back to private practice." I was doing it more like on the side. People always ask me, "So I'm going to do this formally." So yes, I gone. I said I'm starting a business. I'm going to help people lose weight, not necessarily the coaching piece, but really help people guide in terms of what they need to do to lose weight. And I was seeing people on a week to week basis, and I felt like I was spinning my wheels, trying to keep them. Can we book your next appointment? And then the next appointment, they come and say, "Oh, right, I have to cancel this appointment." I wasn't getting that commitment and the continuity that they needed to be able to kind of make progress and to see change. And it was very, very frustrating for me because I felt like I was always trying to pull people from one appointment to the next. And so I was frustrated because I wasn't able to deliver the content that I wanted to and to be able to kind of get them to see the change they wanted to because I was so dependent on the technical stuff of like I didn't have a system and it was like 1 week to the next and then we lost momentum and there was a lot of that.
And
So that was
it was sort of, although you're doing dietitian stuff, I'm assuming similar to a lot of, fit pros, a lot of personal trainers, and a lot of nutritionists as well. Obviously, it was from the way you were doing it, it was more like just charging for the hour. Sometimes I think were you selling like 2 or 3 blocks or whatever it was, or how was that working? Or was it a
it wasn't
one-off?
it wasn't even in blocks. It was like, and I also wasn't just weight loss at that point. I was like any dietary issues. Some people come with me, reflux, irritable bowel, any kind of dietary issue. So they could come and stay, get one session and I charge for the assessment session. So they get an assessment with me and then we'd book sort of session by session after that, depending on their needs. Some people were, "Oh, after 2 sessions, I feel much better. So my reflux is gone." And that was the end of that. So I didn't really have a set path to kind of take people on. And I was doing little bits of everything, which is very typical for dietitians or most nutrition work, where they kind of, any sort of dietary issue, they're happy to help with and provide it sort of in that thing. So yeah, I was charging per session without any, I
What
feel like
were
I
you
did have,
charging, Rena?
I, I was charging $150 for an hour for the initial assessment. And then I was charging $75 for each follow-up session after
So
that,
that's
which took,
like USD's $100 and then
maybe.
50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what your
No, the opposite.
average client spend
US,
was?
uh, I've really been very low. Like I was not keeping clients for more than a month. So even if I got on average, I would say max would be $400. They didn't stay
Do you
with
know
me
what
for
it is
very
now?
long. My average client spend now, I would say is, I mean, minimum 4,500, but I would say for the average,
Did you say
probably
4 to 500 or
4,500,
okay?
4,500,
Okay.
4,500. So yeah, basically like 10 times that. And on most of my clients stay on for even longer. I would say close to 7,000, 7,000.
And what? I mean, it's been a path, right, for sure. But like, what was the first things that you knew that you needed to change? So you came in and you joined. What were the first sort of things? And maybe some of this is looking back as well. But like, what was the first things that we did?
The first most important thing was the biggest change for me was to create a 12-week program. So having a system in place, a blueprint in place where I was able to map out the journey that they were going to go on during the 12 weeks. And yes, I was there every week holding their hand for the accountability and kind of consistency. But for my own frame, knowing where they were going and also locking people in for 12 weeks was
And
huge.
when you say locking people in, what that sounds a bit like
It's
you're going to padlock them
a
into doing
prisoner.
it. But why do you think that was beneficial for them compared to what you had been doing before?
The big difference was I sold them into a program. So I sold them into a journey. We're going to be working together and it builds every week it builds on each other. So it was not every week in isolation, which was why my method before wasn't working because it was every week was its own unit. And then what I was trying to do in between session was create. So I was spending a lot of time in between sessions trying to create a plan or a pathway. Okay, here's what we're going to talk about this week. And it was like only after I'd seen a couple clients, I was like, there is some level of similarities here that, really you can take people on a very similar journey that's following a blueprint. And so from their perspective, they also know like I'm working with this person for 3 months. So that's at least. So that's the expectations aren't as high. I help them kind of manage their expectations. Whereas beforehand, part of the frustration on their end was like, oh, but I've been here for 2 weeks and I'm not seeing change. It became there was a lot of like nervousness on their part, very high expectations. And I was like, okay, like we can settle down a little bit. We have 12 weeks together. We're going to tackle this together. We're going to make this work. And this is also not just to solve the short-term immediate problem. We're going to figure out how to then prevent this from kind of being a lifelong problem like it has been for you for the last 30 years. So it's changed my perspective, which helps me change kind of their perspective, knowing like, okay, I can let some of that guard down because she's going to be here to help me for the next at least 12 weeks.
Um, it's interesting because I think that like your niche, I think is incredibly strong niche. It almost decided itself. I don't think we could kind of say like it was could have been other options, but it was most of the clients that you've worked with. Difference in perspective of the marketing and the sales, getting leads, finding leads, attracting the right clients, between then and let's talk about this year. This year's been relatively good.
Yep.
So what's been the main difference for those that back in the day and now this year with your attitude towards marketing and sales, your outcomes, your enjoyment of doing it? Like, just paint that picture.
So I think part of my success this year has really been narrowing in on my niche. So yes, I knew my niche, but I was really understanding their language and how they feel and how they speak and targeting those things so that people and what people tell me is like, oh my gosh, it's like you say the things that are inside my head. So really speaking directly to a very specific niche has been very helpful to attract the the women that are going to most benefit from my services into my world. And that has been huge change as opposed to me trying to kind of get people from everywhere and try to sort of speak to all sorts of people. It's like speaking very directly to a very specific type of person and
So
working,
not just they happen to be Jewish, but a subsection of those, and
yeah.
I guess understanding how they think about their situation, not just the surface level stuff. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. How they think, how they feel. And even like there are certain cultural expectations that come with being Jewish, as there are with many other cultures. So there's that cultural piece that kind of brings everyone together, but there's also that lack of, you know, because of some of the cultural norms, that inability to sort of, put yourself first because you're often dealing with larger families and there's kids involved and older elderly parents. There's a lot of similarities amongst these people, and then really addressing some of that, which they don't even realize is what's holding them back because they're not necessarily aware of all those other things in their lives. So me really taking a bit of almost like a broader perspective as opposed to and then honing in on a more specific perspective to really understand and get into sort of what are some of the main struggles at a conscious level, a subconscious level for these women, and how can I speak to those to really trigger something that makes them feel like, oh, like this woman gets me, like she understands what I'm going through, and I feel connected to her in very many different ways.
Tell me about the energy of the last few weeks, the last month. Seems people are coming towards you a bit more than they have, or what's going on there?
Yes, this has been a large change in my perspective. And like I said, I've done lots of personal work on myself, which in itself has been a huge journey, but has helped me really work with other people as well. And as much as I try to, not or try to rationalize, I can do anything and it all comes down to me. There's been this shift in my own energy that has come about from a couple of experiences that I've been through that have really made me see how strong the energy that I put forth and how that attracts people toward into my world. And so for me, it's been eye-opening, hugely eye-opening, but like that realization of like letting my own guard down and opening myself up and making myself vulnerable and kind of like prioritizing and realizing what's really important in this world will energetically bring in people who are on that same wavelength and are like struggling with the same sorts of things. And it's just like a magnet for bringing those people in, like the amount of people interested in my program and wanting to get some help has, I would say, in the last 2 months increased probably threefold. Like
And that's
it's
people
just,
contacting you directly, or
yeah, contacting me directly. With my marketing has stayed the same, and as you know, marketing, I tend to get myself all, worried about the marketing, and I'm not a good marketer. I don't write very well. And I haven't changed anything about that piece which I always thought was the most important piece, what you're putting out there, the content, the words. And it's not, it's the energy behind those words that has, I think, changed things for me dramatically, because people can feel that. And that's what resonates with people, even if they don't realize it. It's resonating with them at a different energetic level that is bringing them into my world. And again, my main struggle before was trying so hard and like putting in all my effort to kind of make something which was only adding more struggle to me and was pushing people further away from me.
where
And
are a
I've
lot of your
never
clients coming from?
social media, I mean, which social media channels? All over. They come from a lot. I get a lot of referrals, so a lot of word of mouth, which is wonderful because people, the community that I work with, especially, it's not only in Canada. I see people in the U.S. and I have some in Israel, so a lot of other larger Jewish communities. The referrals I get are within Toronto, so it's like the community is very well connected. So you go to a social event or a wedding or some kind of party and they see someone who, oh wow, like you've really lost a lot of weight, you look great. And then it's sort of, oh, I worked with this dietitian, she's great, here's her contact information. So I've had a lot of referrals that way, family members to referrals, and then mostly from Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn are kind of like my main channels. And it's, again, amazing how these social media channels work, where like people will reach out to me as a complete stranger and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I know you because I've read all your stuff and I see all your posts and I've asked for some of your cheat sheets and I feel connected to you, which is unique for me because I tended to kind of shy away from that in the past, whereas like I don't want people to know me so much. I like to kind of keep to myself. I don't
Do you
want to
know
open
why
up to people.
you were doing that?
Um, Probably it's, I mean, some kind of safety mechanism. I
And the
was
reality when you show up on social media a bit more. I mean, you're not going mental. You're not working 12, 14-hour days, right? You put some reels out and you put some cool posts out. The reality of actually having a business and promoting it on social media. Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it?
I'm learning to enjoy it more than I did before. It was very scary for me to first put myself out there. Like I've had Facebook for years and I never put a single post out there ever, ever, ever. I was that person who kind of looked in the background and just kind of watched other people's posts. And then all of a sudden I have this business and I'm kind of coming out of my shell and putting stuff on Facebook. And I remember, my first reel that I recorded and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Like I'm definitely becoming a lot more comfortable with it. And I do find myself sort of feeling more at ease with it. But it is sort of taking a new identity for me, being that different from that person who, tends to be kind of shy and quiet and doesn't really say much, and really sort of coming out there with this level of confidence. And that level of confidence has changed for me in that I feel it so much more within as opposed to a superficial level of confidence. And I do believe that comes out very differently in my marketing and my content because I do very strongly and feel very passionately about the work that I do and the service that I offer for women because I've been there.
Do you
Not
believe it's a good program?
It's an amazing program. Yeah. Yeah. Life changing. And like not just the weight loss, you can lose weight and okay, then what? But if you're not, there has to be a certain understanding of yourself and a comfort with yourself to, it's not just the weight loss that's going to make you happy. And that's what a lot of these women don't realize.
And what do you charge for it?
I charge for the 12 weeks, 4,500 Canadian dollars.
Which in dollars USD is about 3.5.
Maybe. Yeah. On a
Bit
good
more
day,
maybe.
maybe 3,800. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe 3,800 on a good day. Yeah.
cool.
For 12
And
weeks.
income this year?
90,000, 100,000 at the end of the month, at the end of the year, getting very close to there, which is awesome. Like that's been,
By the way, that's profit, you mean, not
yeah,
not revenue. Yeah.
yeah, net profit. Yeah, net
Okay.
profit. So
So
that's awesome. Way
revenue
more than I ever made.
over six figures, right?
Yeah.
What would you have thought just before you started, whether that's something that you would be doing?
Never in my wildest dreams thought I would be a business owner and making this kind of money. Like never, I never thought that I never thought I could be the one to do that, to be able to kind of wear so many hats and do so many things. And I, I generally find myself a very confident person. I can kind of, do a lot of things, but I don't always love to venture into learning new skills and kind of like to stay within my comfort zone. And running this business in so many ways has pushed me beyond my comfort zone, but in ways that I really truly needed to for my own personal growth and for this business. Like it's done things for me that, again, the truth is when I first started this business, I honestly didn't realize what it would take to run a business. And I thought, okay, this is no big deal. Like I'll just do some nutrition coaching on the nutrition counseling on the side and make a few extra $100 and I'll just kind of help people. And I did not realize the extent of really the systems and the stuff the stuff that needs to be in place from me as like a person and as the owner of this business, plus all the other little pieces that come into play to run a successful business. So I'm very grateful and very thankful that I've created this business, and it's really come a long way, and it's been amazing.
All right. Someone's on the fence. There's lots of skepticism, Rena. We do know that.
Yeah.
You were skeptical, I suspect. You probably joined because you knew Joel so well. Apparently, you didn't at all.
I didn't.
You just randomly spoke to him in a Facebook group. There's me assuming that you knew each other for years.
Yeah.
What would be some advice? What should be at least the first thing that someone should do?
So first thing is get some support. Like I thought I could do this on my own, and I did not realize why learn things that someone else has already spent years creating. And I mean, someone like you has done a wonderful job creating the structures and the systems and the supports to help you get through it. That why try to start from scratch and figure those things out on your own? So that would be kind of definitely a huge piece of advice. Get the support so that you can actually focus on the results and getting the business off the ground instead of trying to deal with all those nitty gritty pieces. And also to realize that like if you put your mind to it, you can do almost anything. And that like sounds very cliche, but it's true. We have the power to do so much, and we often hold ourselves back and are the people that tend to get in our way. I get in my way the most out of anybody. And so realizing that and then knowing how to push yourself, which you probably won't do, you need someone else in your court, a coach to push you beyond your comfort zone. The results on the other side are going to be phenomenal. And there's no way that I would have pushed myself to the level or the depth that I have been pushed with you in this program, with other coaching. Like I still remember that first like going live in the Facebook group when I joined the group, and you have to go live in the group, and I was sitting here on my computer and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't press live. I didn't even know how to do it for Facebook Live. And then I was like, okay. And the first day I'm like chickened out, didn't do it. And I'm like, hey, Rena, 3, 2, 1, just press that button. And I was like shaking. My voice was quivering because like I could have easily shied away, and it sounds like it was something, oh, no big deal, just go live in the group. And I probably would never have done that. But only once you push yourself beyond what seems like this like enormous fear do you realize that like it's never as scary or as bad as you thought. And if it is, there's a reason why you had to overcome that. So don't let your fears hold you back, because the fears only bring you overcoming those fears or pushing beyond those fears only bring you to a much better place.
Thank you so much, Rena. Guys, thank you. This was a short one. Appreciate you, Rena. Bye, everyone.